Alrighty guys, welcome back to Star Wars Review. Today is the weekly Star Wars recap for April 1st, 2025, which it's been almost 2 months since the last one. Didn't really mean for that to happen, so there is a lot to get into. So I'm just going to dive right into it, starting off with every single new release what came out in the last 2 months, which there was a new adult novel titled Reign of the Empire, The Mask of Fear, which starts a brand new trilogy of novels. I haven't started reading it yet, but I plan on reading it soon. I want to read it before Andor Season 2 starts. But then there was a crap ton of comics. There was the new Legacy of Vader series, which started with issue 1, which I enjoyed issue 1. I should have a review of that either, I think, already out, so you can check that out. But also issue 2 came out. Haven't got around to reading that one yet, but I'll probably get to it soon. Then there was another new Marvel series titled Jedi Knights with its first issue, which I thought was solid. I should have a review of that one coming out soon. But then there was a bunch of High Republic stuff. The High Republic Adventures Phase 3 issue 15. Didn't read that. There was a new Marvel miniseries, Fear of the Jedi, with its first issue, and also its second issue, which I didn't read. There was also Adventures Phase 3, issue 16, which I didn't read, and a new Audible original audiobook titled The High Republic Haunted Starlight, which I didn't listen to. And then there was Hyperspace Stories, The Bad Batch Ghost Agents, issue 1, which I didn't read, but I will probably get around to that one soon. And then a new graphic novel, Hyperspace Stories Qui-Gon, which I also didn't read. Also, Ahsoka comic adaptation issue 8, and The Rise of Skywalker comic adaptation issue 1 and issue 2, which I didn't read any of those. But coming out this week is The High Republic Into the Light, the final young adult novel for The High Republic, which comes out today on April 1st, and then Hyperspace Stories, The Bad Batch Ghost Agents, issue 2, which comes out April 2nd, 2025. But with all that said, let's jump into the news, which there is a lot to get into. Starting off, there was multiple trailers for Andor Season 2 released, which I did do breakdowns of them, so you can check those out. Or, well, the second one might be already out, or might be in the next video too. But because I have a lot to get to today, I'm not going to dive into the trailers. But there was some other Andor news, as they did confirm who will be writing and directing each episode, which episodes 1 through 3 will be written by Tony Gilroy. Episodes 4 through 6 will be written by Beau Willimon. Arl Kleeman will be directing those first 6 episodes. And then episodes 7 through 9 will be written by Dan Gilroy, with Yanis Metz directing them. And finally, episodes 10 through 12 will be written by Tom Bissell, with Alonso Ruiz Palacios directing them. But they also revealed the release schedule, which the first 3 episodes will release on April 22nd, and then 3 episodes will come out every week leading up to May 13th, so only 4 weeks with 3 a week. Obviously, I do kind of wish they would have done an episode a week, but just so it could be a little longer, but it is what it is. But they did release several posters for the season, which I'll have up on the screen right now. But moving on, Star Wars Celebration Japan happens later this month, which they did reveal all of the panels which will happen at Celebration, which this year there won't be a main Lucasfilm showcase panel, but there will be several individual panels for upcoming projects, including the live action stuff, which Celebration will be held April 18th to 20th, which on the 18th, a panel for The Mandalorian and Grogu will be held at 10 a.m., which I'd assume the timing is, the Japan time. I don't know what the exact name of their time zone is. But if that's the case, then the timing for the panel in the US for Eastern time would be on the 17th, actually, at 9 p.m. So, nighttime, and obviously then some of these panels will happen later in the day, would be pretty much the middle of the night, at least for Eastern time in the US, so gonna be up kind of late. But on the 18th, there will also be 2 publishing panels, one just for upcoming manga for Star Wars, and then just a general publishing panel. And finally on the 18th, a animation panel will happen celebrating Lucasfilm Animation's 20th anniversary, which that will be at 3:30 p.m. And they tease a sneak peek at what's to come for Star Wars animation, so excited for that. But on the 19th, there will be a panel for Andor Season 2 at 10 a.m., and then a panel for Ahsoka at 1 p.m., which the Ahsoka one says it'll be a look back at the first season, but I'd assume they'll drop some news for Season 2 there. But on the 19th, there will also be a video game panel where Bit Reactor and Respawn will reveal their upcoming turn-based tactics game, which that panel will be at 4:30 p.m. And then on the 20th, a panel for Visions Volume 3 will be held at 10 a.m., which will give us our first look at the 3rd volume. And then the closing ceremony will happen at the end of the day, and will be the final panel, which usually those panels don't reveal much other than where the next celebration will be held. But those are all the panels where there's most likely to be story announcements. There will be other panels about interviews or behind the scenes or just other, fandom type of things. So yeah, but they did also confirm that they will be doing the live stream once again. Obviously, the past several times they didn't or haven't live streamed the bigger panels, so I would assume that will continue to be the trend. But, we'll just have to wait and see for that. But I'll obviously be covering all the news as it's announced that weekend. Right now, the thing I'm looking forward to the most is probably the panel for Bit Reactor's turn-based game, as I do really love games like XCOM, and it seems like it'll be similar to that, so very excited for that one. And obviously, whatever animation has cooking up right now. But speaking of video games, there was a new VR/mixed reality game announced titled Beyond Victory, which will be from the same developers of the Vader Immortal and Tales from the Galaxy's Edge VR games, which I think was just a part of ILM. But this new one, Beyond Victory, will be a pod racing game. From the sounds of it, won't be a full VR game, as they call it a mixed reality game. So I assume that's one where you use the VR headset and it blends your real world environment with the games. That's at least how I think that works. I'm not fully sure. They didn't really give any gameplay or anything, just so far artwork and words I will read. The artwork does show the return of Sebulba, which be interesting to see him again. But on StarWars.com, there was an article about the game, which in it said, "Get ready to team up with Sebulba and go beyond victory." Announcing Star Wars Beyond Victory, a mixed reality playset, the new experience in development at Industrial Light and Magic and Lucasfilm, exclusively for MetaQuest 3 and 3S headsets. Meet up-and-comer Volo Bolas as they join forces with the legendary pod racer pilot Sebulba in this heart-pumping and engine-thromping mixed reality experience. Set around the time of Solo Star Wars story, Beyond Victory will feature an electrifying story and a variety of unique modes for players to enjoy. But like I said, there was no gameplay right now. It seems like a full reveal will happen at Celebration, so we'll learn more soon. Like I said on StarWars.com, it will be exclusive to the MetaQuest 3 and 3S headsets, which I think the Vader Immortal and Tales from the Galaxy's Edge games were exclusive to the MetaQuest also when they came out, but they did eventually come to other platforms. So this game might, obviously, like I said, it's mixed reality, so I don't know how many other headsets do that. I think the Apple one does. I think that one's like $1,000, $1,000+, so it's way more expensive than the MetaQuest 3 and 3S. But I don't have any VR stuff, so I haven't played the Vader Immortal or Tales from the Galaxy's Edge, so I don't know if I'll end up playing this at all. I'd have to get one of those, which is something I'm just only kinda interested in, not fully interested in. But they did also reveal that Marvel will have a tie-in one-shot comic, which from the sounds of it might be a Celebration exclusive, as they say they will give it away at Celebration. So I do hope they eventually release it for non-attendees, but who knows. The one-shot will be written by Ethan Sachs, with art by Will Sliney, Stephen Cummings, and Shogo Aoki. But if we learn more at Celebration, I'll talk about it then. But moving on to some publishing news, there was a new adult novel announced titled Sanctuary, a Bad Batch novel, which will tie into the Bad Batch animated series, and will be written by Lamar Gales and released on August 5th, 2025, which will be set during Season 2 of the animated series, right after the events of the episode Pabu, as we see the Bad Batch and Fee help rebuild Pabu after the tsunami which hit in that episode, which there is a description for it which says, Hunter, Wrecker, Tech, and Omega gamble on a mission to help rebuild Pabu in this thrilling adventure for the Bad Batch. A good soldier knows that life is all about change, whether it's on or off the battlefield. Surviving, living, means adaptation. Hunter is well acquainted with this lesson. He's on the run from the Empire, Echo's off on a mission with Captain Rex, and Crosshair is still Crosshair. But amidst all the change, Hunter still has Tech, Wrecker, and Omega. And it seems that his small family might have finally found a safe place to land, far from the increasingly vigilant eyes of the Empire. Pabu. But their potential new island home is in desperate need of resources, if there is any hope for their fledgling community to recover from a devastating sea wave. That's where Fee Kiona, self-proclaimed liberator of treasures, comes in. With a couple of jobs she swears will get them the funds they need. Despite Hunter's concern with Fee's precarious plans, the rest of the crew is fine following her lead. Things go wrong almost immediately, as Fee's droid blows the crew's cover at a high-stakes auction, and they barely make it out with the relic they've been paid to require. Hunter insists they finish their first mission and deliver the relic before taking on more work, but Fee and the others push forward with a second job, ferrying a couple on the run, one of whom is due to give birth at any moment. Hunter worries what they're risking, especially when their mysterious new passengers cling to lies and secrets that trace back to an Imperial Security Bureau officer hot on their trail. As Hunter tries to get the crew back on a stable, safe path far, far away from anything to do with the Empire's watchdogs, their overlapping missions only invite more danger and chaos. On the verge of failing both their desperate passengers and their community on Pabu, the Batch must remember that the only way they succeed, the only way they survive to fight another day, is by trusting each other. So yeah, which this novel is actually accidentally already revealed with the title and author back in December. So it is nice to have it finally revealed. I loved the Bad Batch series, and so I'm excited for more stories with the characters. I am interested how much this adds to the story and the characters, as it takes place right in the middle of Season 2, so not sure how much there is there, but I am happy to get more Bad Batch. Obviously, a kind of weirdly timed tie-in novel. I feel like it probably would have worked better if it were released in between Seasons 2 and 3, but I'm still happy we're getting it. But speaking of novels being accidentally revealed, the next novel after Sanctuary was also recently accidentally revealed, which it will be titled Master of Evil and will release on November 11th, 2025. It might be written by Adam Christopher, who wrote the 2022 novel Shadow of the Sith and was set to write the Mandalorian tie-in novel, but that got canceled. But I'd assume this novel will get revealed during Celebration. Obviously, with the title Master of Evil, I'd assume it'll be something Sith or Darkseid related, so excited for whatever that might be. But like I said, I'd expect a full reveal during Celebration. But moving on to some comic news, the May and June Marvel comics were revealed. So I'm just going to go through all of them. First, a new Dr. Aphra ongoing series was announced, which I did actually do a video just talking about that, so you can check that out. But it'll be titled Dr. Aphra Chaos Agent, which issue 1 will be written by Sherish Chen with art by Gabriel Guzman and come out June 18th, 2025, which the description says, out from the shadow of Darth Vader, Dr. Aphra returns in an all-new ongoing series featuring the rogue archaeologist as she makes her way through the galaxy in the era of the New Republic. Aphra must team up with Luke Skywalker to track down a rare artifact. And what will she do when her tattoos no longer function? And then, Star Wars Issue 1, written by Alex Segura with art by Phil Noto, which comes out May 7th, 2025, which the description says, an epic new adventure begins for Luke, Leia, and Han in the wake of Return of the Jedi. New York Times bestselling author Alex Segura and critically acclaimed artist Phil Noto launch the bold next era of Star Wars. Luke Skywalker must defend the New Republic from a bloodthirsty gang of mercenaries. Han Solo investigates a deadly underworld mystery and saves a surprising ally. Leia Organa must grapple with a new alliance opposed to the goals of the New Republic. And then Star Wars Issue 2, written by Alex Segura with art by Phil Noto, which comes out June 11th, 2025, which the description says, action and adventure continues in the post-Return of the Jedi era. What secret did the Nagai pilot tell Luke Skywalker? What is the crown of Verity? What tragedy awaits Luke on the winter planet of Gadrilium? And then Legacy of Vader Issue 4, written by Charles Soule with art by Stefano Raphael, which comes out May 21st, 2025, which the description says, Kylo Ren explores Anakin and Padme's past on Naboo. Kylo and Vinay journey to the home planet of Kylo's grandmother, Padme Amidala, to learn more of Vader's dark secrets. Kylo must battle against Storg Varuna and his raiders. And who will rule Naboo when all is said and done? And then Legacy of Vader Issue 5, written by Charles Soule with art by Stefano Raphael, which comes out June 25th, 2025, which the description says, Target Naboo. Kylo Ren in the First Order begins the assault of Naboo. But what strange game is the young tyrant playing with the fates of the people there? What lesson has Kylo learned from Darth Vader's past? And then, Jedi Knights Issue 3, written by Mark Guggenheim, with art by Madibek Musabakov, which will come out May 14th, 2025, which the description says, Qui-Gon Jinn and Obi-Wan Kenobi battle giant monsters. All splash pages, all action. The most unusual Jedi Knight's tale ever told. Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan defy death in an epic attempt to save the life of Senator Bail Organa on a planet full of skyscraper-sized monsters. And then, Jedi Knights Issue 4, written by Mark Guggenheim with art by Madibek Musabakov, which comes out June 4th, 2025, which the description says, "The galactic chase to end all chases. Farada, from Han Solo and Chewbacca, has stolen thousands of credits from Jabba the Hutt, and now Aurra Singh, Zam Wesell, Bane Malar, and the entire galaxy is after her, including Jedi Knights Qui-Gon Jinn and Shaak Ti, guest starring Jango Fett." And then the High Republic Fear of the Jedi Issue 4, written by Gavin Scott with art by America Cresta, which comes out May 21st, 2025, which the description says, "Nightmare above Eriadu. Kee Trennis and her team of battle-weary Jedi must face their biggest challenge and their greatest fear. The Nameless strike as you've never seen them before. What is the secret of the Nightmare fleet? And how can Ty Sarek defend himself against the person he loves most?" And then the High Republic Fear of the Jedi Issue 5, written by Gavin Scott with art by America Cresta, which comes out June 4th, 2025, which the description says, "A call to arms. The GO's under attack. Republic forces outnumbered and outgunned. With the battle for Eriadu and the fate of the Republic hanging in the balance, Jedi Marshal Kee Trennis addresses the galaxy. The end of the war is coming, but who will pay the ultimate price?" And finally, The Rise of Skywalker comic adaptation issue 4, written by Jody Hauser with art by Will Siney, will come out May 28th, 2025, and then The Rise of Skywalker comic adaptation issue 5 will come out June 11th, 2025. But sticking with some comic news, but not Marvel related, but Dark Horse related, Dark Horse revealed another new Hyperspace Stories miniseries titled Tides of Terror, which will be written by George Mann with art by Louis Morocco, with the first issue releasing on July 16th, 2025. And the series will follow Kit Fisto as he gets sent on a mission to this water world called Tortoise with Mace Windu and Shaak Ti as they all investigate this underwater research facility. And I'd assume stuff goes wrong as the cover shows Fisto fighting this big water creature. So yeah, cool to get more of Kit Fisto as the main character. I really haven't gotten much of him recently, so yeah, and I assume he'll probably appear in the Marvel series Jedi Knights also at some point. But it's cool to have him lead this mini-series. But speaking of Kit Fisto, he dies in the movie Revenge of the Sith, and Revenge of the Sith is having its 20th anniversary this year in May, and so Lucasfilm revealed that the movie will be returning to theaters on April 25th, 2025, which it'll screen in several formats, including 4DX, which is the one where they move the seats around and spray water on you and whatnot. So hopefully they make the theater unbearably hot during the Mustafar scenes. But just like the past couple anniversaries where they've re-released the movie in theaters, they also released a new poster from artist Matt Ferguson, which the one for Revenge of the Sith kind of shows Vader and / Anakin with some Mustafar moments and whatnot. Very cool poster. I've really liked all the posters Ferguson has done, and this is just another good one. So yeah, I'll probably go and see it on later this month. But that's all the news we have. This is a very long one. Talked very long. Obviously today, April 1st, is my channel anniversary. Don't really have anything special planned. I don't think I've ever done anything special. So yeah, but just wanted to mention that. Anyways, I'll be doing a lot this month, hopefully. So you check that stuff out then with whatever I do. But I have a Star Wars review, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.
I want to win. We have to. We must stand together. We will be crushed.
Resistance is absurd.
It's a weapon.
They're building a weapon.